All right. Speak now, brother.
Yep, I'm here. Can you hear me good?
I can't hear you at all through the computer. I can't hear
Hold on.
you.
Let me see something. Yeah, what's wrong with this thing? I can hear myself through my computer. Let's see.
So time out, brother. You was talking that whole time to yourself.
Oh yeah.
This brother got a lot to say, bro.
So let's see. Yeah, this is not working the way it's supposed to.
You know, we might just have to have this conversation with you like this with you on your phone.
Right.
All right. So it looks, because I hear but you can hear me through the computer. I hear that. I hear my echo.
Yeah.
Wow, brother, you gotta,
I gotta get a new computer.
Yeah, you gotta get that worked on, bro. That's definitely.
Yeah. Because I thought, this whole time I thought the audio was working, and I see that it's I'm not coming through on there.
Right. So let's just have this. I mean, we can try this again. We can try to use another platform. Maybe it'll come through that one.
Nah, it's the computer itself, bro.
All right.
Yep.
So we got one person watching. Oh, what's up, Osunyemi? That's a good brother. Is following me. We're going to be talking about this concept of high value that's going on in the community, and what is it? And is it valid? Is it something that we need to be concerned with, or is it like a bull concept that really isn't serving our community either way? It's not serving men, it's not serving women, it's not serving anybody. Like, where does this concept come from, and what is it? So that's what we're kind of discussing right here, because of it actually is something that affects our community, that affects people of color, African people of color, people of African descent in the Americas, because I personally don't really pay attention to it. But just because I didn't pay attention to it doesn't mean it wasn't around. You know what I'm saying? Just because, like, I've never had issues with relationships. Whenever I wanted, the only time I had an issue, or whenever I was single, is when I wanted to be single. By and large, for the most part, if I was just acting stupid for a period of time. But honestly, I was around friends, where I thought I was the moral one, because I only had one girl, but I would have one girl every other month or every month, versus I had another friend who, would have 4 or 5 girls at one time. So that was my concept of morality back then in reference to dating. But I never really came across this idea of this high value. And it was always floating around me. And then I guess I saw it in college, but I didn't pay attention to it in college. And it is something that is hurting our community. These sisters out here with this concept that they're not going to get with a man unless they are doing this, and a third. And then they end up becoming older and then find themselves in a bad, situation in which their ability to have children is jeopardized. The family is jeopardized. Their ability to reproduce is either nil, not there. It's just, once again, using the term jeopardized. And so we're just exploring this concept of high value, and its relevance to our community in general. So I'm speaking right now with my brother Otun Damare. It's a good brother. He's out of the Northwest. I've known him for a few years, and he's been putting in work in the community by and large. And he's actually the one that hit me to this conversation. So, brother, what do you got to say about it?
High value is interesting.
Okay, go ahead, brothers. Go ahead and speak.
Okay, so high value is an interesting concept. It may be relevant to a specific group of people, mostly mainstream, or those that correspond with the American or westernized narrative of things.
Everybody, put a 1 in the comment section if you can hear my brother. Just put a 1 so I know you can hear him.
So listening to a few people, one of them, one of the YouTubers that go by the name of Kevin Samuels. That's the first time I heard of. Through him was the first time I heard of the high value men.
Okay.
And he's big on that idea, and a lot of what they call high value men tune in on his YouTube channel. So I've been listening to it because I thought that he has a lot of good points, and a lot of things that he's saying are not exclusive to what he would call high value men, which are men that are high earners, earning at least $150,000 and up per year. And from what I can recall, his take on what a high value man is a man that not only makes $150,000 a year, but he has made $150,000 a year for at least 5 years or longer.
So wait, okay, so it's somebody that's making $150,000 for 5 years or longer.
Yes.
All right, and now
they're specific about the type of women that they date, right? So they only date women that are mostly 6 and up, or mostly 7 and up, right?
And you're talking about when you say 6 or 7, you're talking about the beauty scale, right?
Yeah, the beauty scale, yeah. And
now this is a random scale too, right? It's not really defined. It's a 6 or 7, and that's just based on their own perceptions, correct?
What you mean your own perception?
It's based on individual perceptions. What's a 6 to you might not be a 6 for me.
That's not the way he's coming at it.
I get you.
At it mainstream. So it'll be like Hollywood's idea, but basically
Hollywood's idea.
Well, there's there's a westernized concept of beauty as opposed to African or Asian or anybody else concept of beauty, right? And so that idea, that narrative is what guides what high value men, what a high value man is, and what a high value man puts value in, and how they evaluate their women. So to him, Beyonce and what's that girl?
Rihanna?
Kelly Rowlands are like 7s and 8s.
He called Beyonce a 7?
Yeah, or a 7 or 8, something like that. Yeah.
What?
They're really up there for him.
Okay,
and
time out. What would be a 10? That's hella ridiculous. What would be a 10?
I'm not sure what a 10 is for him.
You know, I think that sounds kind of like he's just keeping the ball. He just keep raising the bar so you can't reach it. That makes no sense. That makes no sense right there. Honestly, makes no sense to me right there. Giving girls numbers, that's really demeaning too, actually, because the value of a woman is not really in her beauty. You know, that beauty has value, but it doesn't define who a sister is and how a sister can help you grow. But I know that's taking us off and where you want to go on things, but I'm just letting you know how that sounds to me.
That's I agree with you. I'm just telling you where he's coming from with it, right?
Right. And then I have to, not to say I disagree, because honestly, we're talking about this subject, one, because I'm fascinated about how many people actually, think about this on a day-to-day basis. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm not saying that I understand that my perception about things is way different than a large percentage of people. So I understood that when I was in college, just by the very fact that, I didn't really vibe with everybody. You know what I'm saying? I was a set aside and I was a little bit different. When I was at Central, that was different. I'm talking about when I had my Howard experience. When I went to Howard is when I was really introduced to this concept of high value, so to speak, even though I didn't participate in it. You know what I'm saying? I was teaching meditation and holistic living when I was on campus. And and I was satisfied and I was comfortable in myself with that, but I was definitely introduced to it. A brother that's watching us said, it's the mind, and it's the same with men. Yeah, we're about to have this conversation about high value and what's it mean in our society and how beneficial it is to us. So go ahead, Brother Dennis. I was just relaying, my concept and my perception on this matter.
Yeah, no, we understand. I was just explaining his, you know what I mean? So we have to start from where he's coming from, because that's where that idea is coming from, as far as I'm concerned. You know
Gotcha.
Yeah, so that's where he's coming from with it. My own idea is completely different. The whole grading system would be completely obliterated when it comes to me, because you can't really judge them just on their looks alone.
Yeah, that's mad shallow. Oh, yeah. This is also Yeme is a woman. I thought you was a brother. Apology, sister.
Yeah, so I can't really judge that looks alone. I judge, if I'm gonna look at a woman, I'm looking at her physical beauty, and then sexual. Okay, there's attractions. So physical attraction, sexual attraction, intellectual attraction, spiritual attraction. And whatever type of maybe style or fashion sense or a way of life or something like that has something to do with, because I'm an artistic person, so whatever her art is, something that's art about herself, artistic about herself.
Okay. Before I went off and got initiated into spirituality, let me see. My parameters was basically just how you looked.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was in community college, especially, I was just like, essentially, how do you look and how do we vibe? You know what I'm saying? If you look nice, and if we can hang out together without the mess, without an argument, without a debate, then we're good. And if we can make it to a certain period of time, then I was willing to invest more in the relationship, right? That was my concept of things. And that really never worked, honestly, because essentially that was a low vibration understanding on how to engage in relationships. That's why you used to see me with, a million different sisters at the same time, or not at the same time, but, when I was at school, because essentially I wasn't really serious about it. But once I got initiated, I became more serious about my own personal energy. You understand? And so then I was more selective about the sister I would engage with, simply because I didn't want to waste. I didn't want to share my energy and then take on anybody else's energy, because I began to understand that, your own temple is sacred. So it was very different, So when I was at Howard, I went to, luckily I got initiated before I went to Howard. And so I just had a very different perception of things. So, but these concepts, these people were still around, So essentially, I think we're talking about what is being termed high value might just be materialistic. Is that kind of what we're saying? The more handsome.
I guess so. You can say that it's materialistic.
Okay.
But it's
I'm gonna put the link in the chat, Osume. If you want to join, just hit the link. You can come up and speak with us.
My whole thing is you don't have to tell women that they are basically low value or worthless or not enough value to a high value man, in a high value man's opinion.
And this is what Kevin is doing, right?
Yeah, basically. Yeah. I mean, because he got his own system that's in place as far as like being able to determine a woman's value based on her looks, among other things. One of the requirements for the women is to be feminine. I think all men can appreciate that. Women that are feminine and nurturing.
Yeah, I think that can be a universal standard.
Yeah, and so the way he puts it out there is that only high value men would require that. That's actually a requirement of all men.
Right.
So that's why I would disagree with him on that. You know, that's not a high value.
Oh, yo, we got a sister that wants to join this conversation, brother.
Okay, please join us.
Peace, Osunyime.
Peace, how are you?
I'm well, how are you doing?
It's a bit noisy because I've got my little one, okay?
All right.
Yeah.
Hold on 1 second, sister. Let me get it so my brother can hear you too. Okay, go ahead and speak, sisters. Let me see if my brother can hear you.
Hi.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm okay. I just was saying it's the same for women as well, because I was in the conscious community before.
Okay.
Right. Yana. Shh. Right. I was in the conscious community before, and I used to go by the length of the guy's hair, how good looking he is. By this time, right, some guys will just say what they want to say, or they put on an illusion, and then you're thinking, okay, this me and the man on the same level. So I think it works the same for the women as well. Like you go on the aesthetics. You're not looking at the mindset. And I think when I had children,
right,
one or two of the men, then you start to see another side, and then it just messes up your idea of the man. Like so like I think it's the same, because like with men, right, there's a level of how good he looks, what he's saying, how he performs. Obviously another thing women look at. And then yeah, I think I covered it all. I think what you said, but yeah, I think it's the same. It goes both ways, basically. It goes both ways. And now I'm older. I think I don't look as the same as I used to. So
right.
now you're more looking for a companion. You're not looking for like the same thing you was doing when you was younger.
Right. And actually, well, sister, my intention for this is to really kind of clear this up, because really our community in general, these concepts are damaging and hurting to our community. And when you're younger and you're engaged in just really using, essentially that's what's happening, is you're using another person to fulfill a desire that is not attuned to bringing balance to the community, and it's based on an illusion of what will bring happiness and joy into someone's life. And so it ends up creating all of these different miasms and all these different issues in lives. So like it sounds like you happen to have been blessed in a sense, in the fact that you have a family, and that you have offspring to take care of, because of that you have offspring to take care of. But there are many of our sisters that are out here that do this that are that strive to be successful in the Black community, or in their own jobs and their careers. And this is what I learned when I was in school. They put off the family, and they're even willing to abort a child if they end up having a child, for their career. And then what ends up happening in their mid 30s or 40s, they don't have a child, they don't have a family. And then the proverbial clock begins ticking on them. And then they start stressing about getting a man and about having a family. And it's hurting our community, it's hurting our people, and it's really hurting our sisters, because our sisters find themselves in a situation whereas they're no longer able to fulfill that need of nurturing and then of raising a family. And so, it's just addressing some of these concepts that we see out here. And then I didn't know it was a big issue until my brother Otun Demare brought it to my attention. So I saw it, but it never really affected me, because one, I think I just happen to say I was just blessed in that it just never affected me. I just never paid any attention to it. I'm married with my wife, and everything is beautiful and fine in our relationship. And so I never had an issue with this idea of this high value man. Like I didn't know sisters had this as a conception, but I did know one part of it, which was there was a large percentage of, you know, single successful Black women. I just didn't. I thought that was because they put their career ahead of relationships. I didn't know they also had this parameter of judging men.
It's that combination of the two.
Right.
They would go and they would put off. Well, some of them will get with men while they're in college, but they won't get in any type of serious relationship. And then they'll put all that off, and the family and all this other stuff off, which is okay depending on your situation and circumstance. But then once they get out of college and complete their degree, they feel that once they are making $100,000 a year, that the man needs to be making $200,000 or $300,000 a year, and then just be super buff and chiseled, muscular and stuff like that, handsome, well-spoken, and all these perfect things. And they're learning that they're not those men that they're describing want women that are beautiful, that are like a 10 buck naked. They're just beautiful, gorgeous body, gorgeous face, feminine energy just pouring out of them. Very what they call elegant and ladylike, and the type of woman that these high value men that make 300,000 or more or something like that will want on their arm. And the women themselves that want these men that require that their dates be Mr. Perfect, they're not perfect themselves. And this is coming from even the opinion of a well-known dating expert, Rebecca Lynn Pope. You see what I'm saying? She had matchmake women for years, but once it got to a point where she had to quit because she could not matchmake those women. Those women were too picky. Yeah, they got their education. They wanted the man to have more education than her, wanted her to make more money, wanted him to make more money than her, wanted him to be Mr. Perfect. And they breezed over all of these dudes. They overlooked 90% of all the men out there, just for those high value men that are 3% and less
of the population. And then on top of that, that's not even in the African American community. That's not. I know a few brothers that are making that level of money. You know, and then I know them personally. 1%. Yeah, I know them personally, but they're not. The average brother that I know is making less than 100,000. Yep, you know, and everything is all good. You know, we got houses, we got cars, we're taking care of families, but you know, their wife is working, they're working. You understand? Yeah. So this concept, this idea of a sister wanting to stay home and just be taken care of, I don't think that's ever existed in any society. That's a weird. I mean, that might be a fantasy. Maybe that's a fantasy. That has to be some fantasy because
it exists for a number of women out there. Even some Black women have lived that life before. But the thing about it is,
it's not the average, brother.
Widespread because the community hasn't come together to make it that way. You know what I mean? So it's like
if you're raw upper class, yes,
playing against each other.
I would say if you're upper class, yes.
You know, uncle was only making $70,000 a year, and then he required that his wife did not work. So I've seen this before. I lived with them before. You see what I'm saying? And so I know what that looks like, and the wife would want to work that could contribute more money to the family because $70,000 a year is not enough to raise 3 kids.
No, it's not.
And then take care of a wife at the same. That's not enough. You know what I mean? So she wanted to work, but I've seen situations like that where the woman would stay home and cook and clean, and the man would be out working and stuff like that. Traditionally, that's the way they do it. It hasn't been able to work out that way for people of color that much.
Hold up, Osun Yeme, what were you saying, sister?
I'm jumping in on him. I'm saying some households because some women like as you said, right, they will leave it till late. I mean, I had my children young, so therefore I was able to be a mum. I have done businesses too myself, but that's when I was with another man for like 4 years, and he was working. But now I'm the single mother, so So you're home with the children, you're home with them, and you're nurturing them, and you haven't got that extra money coming in. So some women will do that. Some women will have time and sit home with the children, but not all of them, because not unless the man is a certain way or whatever. But some of us do want to sit home and let the man go out there and be the man, be the breadwinner. But it's just hard meeting those type of men. They're very hard to come by, especially in the conscious community. The things it's very hard to come by.
Well, you said I wanted to you know when you said the conscious community before, you said you used to be a part of it. I found that to be an interesting statement. But to address what you're also talking about, like this idea, well, what's happening, I guess, since this social media has exploded, you know, it's different now in the conscious community. Apparently, you know, you can make money, you know, with your consciousness now. But before, you know, let's take the 1980s, 90s, early 2000s. Typically, you know, you hid your consciousness, or the conscious brothers that you saw didn't have a job because they were working against the system. And so you're definitely not. It's definitely hard. I mean, it's rare. It's if the high value man in the general society is rare. I mean, it's the high value, so-called high value, or defined high value man that we're talking about now in the conscious community is dang near non-existent. But so that was very interesting. But what do you mean you used to be a part of the conscious community, sister? Because you never lose consciousness.
Well, that's true. You never lose consciousness, because I was in it from the 90s. They know the 90s to 2000. And that's when it was very high at the time.
Right.
I was part of Nation of Islam, and I was a Rasta at the time. Well, just going into Rastaism at the time. So I had a concept of how my man was supposed to be when I was in Nation of Islam. When you see the brothers selling the papers, and I was part of MGT. I was also selling papers. So they gave me an idea that how this is how the man's supposed to be. He's supposed to be out there, by backing you, because most of the women that I was around in the Nation of Islam, they men go out and go out and do the sales, and they would run their classes, and that's when I got my ex at the time. So my idea of a man was supposed to be like that. But then later on, because I'm kind of rebellious anyway, right? I was told I was stubborn on certain levels with some men. At first, when I saw my first bobo dread, and I was like, yes, but then even the bobo dreads, right? The women don't go out to work. The women will sit at home with the children, and the men will be out there selling the tonics and all that. So, but I was never lucky to meet one. So I'm not gonna say I met one, but I did meet a lot of Rasta men that I took a lot of interest in, and so I did look into.
You said, what did you say? Boba dreads?
Boba dread, yeah.
Okay, I'm listening.
The rap-head priest, the rap-head Rasta. Yeah. So even them, unless there was a certain way, economically, but like he said, like consciousness has changed a lot. I see that it's changed. Well, not Jackal. Is the aware community has changed a lot. It has changed a lot.
I like that term, aware.
It's come a long way, because before, it was like most of the men wasn't really doing for their children. Now the younger men that's in the aware community now, they're standing with their women, with their children and all that. So, but for us ones who was from that time and space, we missed out on certain things, because we had a concept of how a man's supposed to look after you and all this. So some women decided that they would rather wait for a man to come and look after them. Some women went out and did the little things, the little hustle and all that. but some women just have an idea that how we're supposed to like give them loads of money and they would keep them out of money. So you know what I mean? There's all different scenarios I can say because I've seen it all.
Right. That's very interesting. Oh, I wanted to say thank you for coming up on the panel to you. Thank you for being a follower too. Appreciate you and your energy.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah. All right, so Brother Dennis, go ahead, Brother Tune.
Okay, so yeah, my whole thing is, Sean, what do you think of what? I don't know if you listen to Kevin Samuels or not, but what do you think of the concept of high value women and being judged on by their looks, and whether or not they should continue to go after men that or value men that have lots of money, making $150,000 or more?
Yeah, I did see a snippet of his video on somebody reacting to the video. To me, I think that how there is men who go on that sort of thing, like they act like oh, she's got to look pristine and all that. So there's those type of men who want that type of woman. So I feel that he basically is just using the idea of the we'll say the commercial looking black woman, because she ain't a normal black woman, she's commercial. You know, because a normal black woman wouldn't have time to put on makeup and all that stuff, and you know, like if she's got all 5, 10, 6 things going on, she won't be able to do the nails and you know, just hoodie and trousers, and then she's gone. But it seems to me that when you dress like that, men downgrade you. But it's not that you don't have time to do it. Like some women like to wait when they're going out, and then they will do all the necessary, you know, the hair and all that. So I just think it's like this is all because of Beyonce and the Kardashian situation too. I'll put it down to them too, because like I say, it's good when a woman can take care of her if she has take care of herself if she has the money. But realistically, if some women haven't got that, does that mean that she shouldn't have a man with money herself if she's not like dressed aesthetically to the eye, or she don't look a certain way to the eye?
Brother O'Toole, did you hear?
Okay, well, say that last part again.
He said if she doesn't look a certain way, it doesn't, you know. Brother, Sister Osunyeme, could you repeat what you just said?
If the woman don't look aesthetically a certain way to the eye, does that mean that she shouldn't have a man who's in a high paying job as well? Because like I said, it goes both ways. It's balance, isn't it? It's balance. Because like a woman wants a nice man with money to take care of her. And I mean now it's different. The women's more liberated and they take care of themselves. You know, men don't. What I notice with men, because I have a lot of men friends, they go by visual. So if you're not dressed a certain way, they don't rate you. If your body shape's not a certain way, you're not rated as companion worthy or whatever. I don't know. Don't know what word I have to say.
Right. So O'Toole, she was saying if you're not aesthetically pleasing, if you don't fit the standard of beauty that, first of all, society, then you have set, that's not a fair assessment. That's not something that should be done, because a woman's value is not in her beauty, but in her character and in her soul, so to speak.
This is very true. I would agree with that. But from that concept that he's talking about, that Kevin Samuels is talking about, and other people on YouTube, they disagree with that. And a lot of them is a lot of this is just backlash, actually, because of the way men were treated, especially black males were treated prior to 2010. Actually, even prior to 20. We'll say even a little past 2010 to like 2015 or something like that, and that's when the men really started clapping back at the women, at women in general in society. This newest movement is this high value consciousness, this high value movement, and putting men that make a certain amount of money on a pedestal, and then making it so that women have to work on themselves to be able to get those type of men. Eventually, Kevin Samuels on his show stated that, and started putting it more out there, the message that most women are going to have to work for a living. They're not going to be able to be stay-at-home moms because the men that they're looking for are not up to that level yet. The men that are out there, most men are not up to that level. The amount of men that make $100,000 or more are 3% and less, especially in the black community. That's less than 1%. Of the whole human population, and so at 1% of the black community at large, so it's it is unrealistic, and the number system that 1 through 10, for me, someone like myself, it doesn't exist because beauty is in the eye of the beholder. What might be a 10 to one person may be a 5 to another, and like I said, he in his opinion. Beyonce and Kelly Rowland are like an 8. Now, there's something else that I brought up those different levels of attraction. When I look at somebody like a Beyonce and then a Kelly Rowland, and a sexual attraction, I would find Kelly Rowland more attractive, and he found Kelly Rowland more attractive. Physical attraction, I put them both the same, but would they be and if I had a number system, would they be an 8 on my scale? No, they'll be less than that. I'm not sure where their number will be.
You said they would be less than that? What? Okay, I'm listening, brother.
Yeah, they're actually. Oh yeah. I thought you'd be surprised. See, because Beyonce is somebody that I find physically attractive, but not sexually attractive. There is a difference.
I mean, yeah.
Sexually being somebody that I would want to have sex with, just even by looking at them, like, oh yeah, this girl's really tight. This girl's really hot. She's sexy. She got that magnetic energy, that lure, that magic. But Beyonce wouldn't really do that for me. She's a beautiful woman, though. Don't get me wrong. She's a beautiful woman. But that's why I said that his rating scale doesn't apply to me, because it's I got a whole different reader and radar system. A whole different. It works completely different than his. High value for me is if I'm looking at a high value woman, yeah, her beauty is only part of it, and then there's sexual attractiveness, that's high, and then intellectual, spiritual attractiveness, that's got to be high. We got to be compatible. We got to be culturally, sexually, emotionally, spiritually compatible. If that's not there, then how could she be a 10 or what is called a 10 on my scale or whatever? But that's why I say I don't have that whole number system. I don't have that. So right. When I judge, me personally, when I judge women, is based on something completely different. And just like you said earlier, Oshun, it works the same way for men and women. We both have characteristics about us that are attractive to other people, and then there's some that are not attractive to other people. But where you could put one on a scale, male, you can put a female on a scale as well. And it also goes across the color lines. It don't matter what race or ethnicity you are. Attraction is just attraction. You know, you're either attracted to somebody or something, or you're not.
Now, let me interject for a moment. I wanted to, when we were first talking about this this discussion, I did a little. I just looked up a few things earlier. I'm going to share my screen, and what I'm going to share is the average black house, the African American income scale. Right. This is from BlackDemographics.com. Right.
Yep.
Can you all see my screen?
Yep.
So,
yeah.
So if you look at this screen, I mean, it doesn't even make sense. I mean, there's only 4 or 3%. I guess it's the same in the black community as it is in the white. That only 4% are making 150 to 200,000. This is the average income of a household income.
Right.
And then, well, I think they do it by individuals as well. Okay, the average individual is making $41,000 a year.
Yep.
That's the average individual.
Pretty much.
So this concept that these people are having is ridiculous.
Yes.
You know, the middle class making between $50,000 to $150,000. That's 36% of the population. I mean that, and then I would bet the majority of these people are making between 50 and 100,000.
Right.
You know, which is, so I don't understand why this concept of reaching or getting somebody in that's making over 200K. They're talking about over 200K. When I listened to Kevin Samuels and his information, he was always talking about people, and he would say, "Oh, so you're looking for a guy making over 300,000." After he would break down, you know, paying for college and all of the expenses associated with child rearing, and the sisters would be like, "Yeah, that sounds about right." What the hell? What kind of madness is that? That doesn't make any sense. You know, not to me. You know,
it's a fantasy that people will not be able to live up to.
And this is a demographics. This is demographics based on different cities. Now, Washington D.C., this area right here, you make a lot of money here, right? You make, you know, and that's why the average. This is a household income. The black median household. This is both the man and the woman working.
Right.
But in the average area, you're making less than $50,000.
Right.
You know, outside of Washington D.C. So I'm just blown away. Like I thought, you know, my conception was, you know, that people should strive to just have balanced, safe, and secure relationships. Like this concept of, you know, you need to make this amount of money is just absolutely ridiculous.
But here's the important thing, because he mostly wants to speak to women, right? So the whole thing is, what should these women do that are making, you know, 100,000 and more, and are not able to meet men that make that much? What should these women do? What should they do? Because they refuse to date men that make less than them and have less education than them. So it's like, what do these women need to do to get what they want out of life?
I think Oshun can answer that better than I can.
Oshun, what do you say?
What should we do? Repeat the question again, because my daughter's.
Yeah, and the brother said, what for sisters that are making over $100,000, right? And looking at the demographics we just looked at, we see that not a lot of people are doing that, but there are some sisters out there that are in the 4%, in 3%, making over $100,000 a year. And they can't find a mate. What should they do? You know, you're talking about in reference to dating, right, Otun?
Yeah, should these women change their procedure? Because these women, if you talk to them, they refuse to date men that make less than them. So they refuse to get with men that have less education than them beyond a sexual act.
So hold a second. I think we got it. Oshun, do you remember there was some movie that came out like 6 or 8 years ago. It was a sister. She was making a lot of money, and she refused to, or she fell in love with like the handyman.
The white dude?
Yeah.
Okay, that was something new.
Something new. I mean, this is the concept that they're talking about. So how should a sister react to a brother? How should a sister react based on these dynamics that she can't find a man that makes as much as her? So should she lower, I guess, her expectations? I guess that's what Dennis is asking. In order to create the family? That's the question, Oshun.
I guess she will have to, wouldn't she? Because otherwise, right, she would not get the man that she wants, especially if he's able to give her everything that she wants. She might have to, or bring him up to her standards if she has to do it.
So she's saying she's got to level the brother up. Level the brother up, or work together. There was a brother in the comments earlier. His name is that made the statement. You know, people are not really understanding. It's not about a number, but it's about building wealth. Because the brother said, if someone makes 100,000 and he makes 70,000, they bring that together. That's 170,000, and that's wealth building right there. And then that's how people should be looking at the situation.
Right.
You know.
Actually, yes.
That's actually how it should be looked at. So then it becomes easier to raise children, you know, on an income of 100. Well, let's be real. Let's say both people are making 40,000. It's easier to raise a family on an income of 80,000 than it is 40,000.
Yep.
So essentially, what we're saying is we have to be more rational in the way in which we approach this situation, because it is a serious conversation. Because what's happening is sisters are entering the end part of their childbirthing phase or years or whatever we're saying, and they're not having families, and this is going to negatively impact the Black community.
And many of them would rather not have the family than get with a dude that makes less than them.
I mean, that's what we're here discussing. That's what we're talking about.
They, you tell them, oh, you can get with a man that makes 60,000. No, that's not enough. He got to make more than that. He got to make more than me. He got to make twice as much as me. If I'm the CEO, he got to own the corporation. Like, okay, whoa. You may have went far and gotten places after you got your BA, you're smart and everything, you're beautiful and all that, and then you want these men to have everything that you got and more. But realistically, those men don't require you to have all the education and the money that you have. Those men mostly are looking for women that are going to be stay-at-home moms. Those men in general, we do not care if the woman is making $150,000 a year or 150 cents. All we care about is that she's beautiful, that she's nurturing, that she's a good mother figure, she's a good wife figure. She's supportive of us, and she's into wealth building. That is very important. It's good that commenter brought that up. That's very important. Wealth building. These women that Kevin Samuels is talking about, they often don't even want to build wealth with these men. They want the men to just be able to take care of them when she is going to give birth and have children, and then so she can stay at home with the children, and then while he goes to work and makes all this big money.
Well, brother, I'm still engaged in a process of trying to put myself in a position whereas my wife doesn't necessarily have to work. Honestly, because looking at the education system, I would rather my wife educate my children at home than subject them to the educational system. Honestly, I'm striving to put myself in that position, but I'm not in that situation. We would be working a family business,
Yes.
So my wife and I are gonna work. It's not a kickback, lay back, chill out session where nobody's working. Like even the brother that I know, my spiritual brother, he makes or one of the brothers that I know, he consistently is making $500,000 a year, right?
Yeah.
But everybody in his household works, and he's got multiple businesses. You know what I'm saying? I don't, so, and then nobody sits around and does nothing, and then they work all the time. They work there. That's that's all they do is work. So it's not. So I don't have any thought. It doesn't. Well, anyway, it makes sense to have the idea of putting yourself in a position where you can take your family out of the system and raise them in a way in which you can promote a positive philosophy and ideology, which you can promote, a way of life, impart a way of life to them outside of this madness of society. But so that's a little different conversation than the Kevin Samuels, situation, because in this conversation we're talking about nation building, and nation building is requiring everybody inside of it, to put up and to work towards building a positive nation, building a positive mindset inside the people within that nation. But I think this idea that somebody just wants to sit home and be taken care of, that doesn't make any sense, and it never has, honestly. So, and the sisters having to in order to combat this negative. Also, this is another question. Do you think this is a result of fairy tales that these women have been told when they were younger? Is this some sort of fairy tale going through their head? Where does this concept come from that the man needs to take care of them?
The grandparents tell. Well, I was brought up by my grandmother, so my grandmother always said that how women don't take care of man, man take care of woman. That's how she put it. So you are brought up, like having an expectation of having the man like take care of you, look after you, whatever he has to. Now make sure your children's clothes, make sure your clothes, make sure that all the bills. I mean, that he gives you money. Because that's how I was brought up as well. But then I realized later on, it doesn't feel like that. That means that you have to be the sacrificial lamb to be able to get that. You're gonna have to give sexual gratitude in some way, in some cases, that you can get what you need to get. Which is which comes on to, well, you can look at it like prostitution, almost. To be blunt.
That's what it. Yeah, that's what it's. Okay, that's another level. Interesting. So sisters are taught. So you're saying sisters are taught that's what is supposed to happen. A man is supposed to take care of the woman.
Yeah.
But is it in such a way where the woman is not supposed to work? Like, are you taught that the man is supposed to take care of the woman and the woman is just supposed to take care of the house and that's it?
And the kids?
Yes. Because
if you look at Christian culture, the husband or the wife's family, right? The wife's family pays for the wedding because the father is giving away the bride, so another man can take care of the daughter, can take care of her. It's always been about taking care of the woman.
Yeah. But what I was gonna say before you came into that was I was gonna say that how, like the males are the lions, isn't it? And we're supposed to be the lioness, isn't it? So with a pride, right? The lioness takes care of the young ones, isn't it? While the males goes out and hunt. So that initially is what the male, the black men. Well, men in general, should I say? I shouldn't just put everybody under one umbrella. Men is supposed to do that, and the woman's supposed to stay home and nurture the children, take care of the house. I mean, some women don't like it, but that's how it is. That's how it is. I mean, now it's different now, so I can't say that. But
I think most women would like it. They just got fooled and tricked by feminism. Especially by, I think, the fourth wave feminism and Barbie doll feminism. They got fooled and tricked by that. They went to school and took these women's studies classes, and after that, they were brainwashed so much that they thought that.
Brother Truth is online. Peace, brother.
150,000,
good to see you, fam.
And having a BA and PhDs and master's degrees, and they didn't realize that nobody told them in college in all these years that men don't care about your degree, about your achievements or anything like that. They want a beautiful wife. They want a beautiful sexual wife. They want a beautiful sexual intellectual wife that they can marry and then have children with. It's that simple. The wife doesn't even have to really graduate high school.
Hey, hold on 1 second. Let me explain. I have a Brother Truth is on. I just wanted to say we're talking about this concept of the high value man, and this idea that the woman has to get with the man that takes care of her, and the man has to make over $300,000 a year in order to be considered appropriate mate for her. So we're just discussing the sanity of such a concept and where does it come from. One love, brother. One love. All right. Yeah, go ahead, brother. Otun. Barbie doll feminism.
Yeah, okay. I was at the Barbie doll feminism, and so yeah, they got tricked by that movement, and they got to thinking. I mean, right now it's like some of them are coming out of the spell. Like literally, they were under some type of hypnotic state that kept them believing and thinking a certain way. It helped them get their degrees, but they come to the realization now that the men don't appreciate all that they've accomplished. They're thinking they had it in mind that they were going to be more impressive to men by getting those by accomplishing all those things. No, it's always been men that had earned all these different things to impress the women. It goes back to the days of the hunter gatherer and all that. You know, the dude collected all of these. He went out and killed the animals and to bring food home. He went out, gathered up the wood and stuff like that to bring to the home, build a home, put in the fire so that they can have heat. Men had did all these things, and the women took care of the children and were the children's first teacher and took care of the home.
But you know what? That concept is not an African concept, brother. In Africa, in general, the woman always took care of the garden, and by and large, the garden fed the family the most because you don't have a lot of you're not always successful on the hunt, and then when you're hunting, it takes you sometimes you would be tracking the animal for days, and then you're out there, and then fasting and different spiritual techniques come into play in reference to that, and different herbs to stop your hunger.
The garden at the house.
Yeah, the garden at the house, and even when you go to Ghana today, the sisters are out there working the market. The sisters are out there working the market, and the men are doing other things. They're in the market as well. But it's a well-known fact that sisters and brothers work together in order to build up the family.
No, you're right.
Yeah, and that's my concept. That's why I'm thinking, where is this coming from? Because I don't remember reading about any society in history where there's one gender that can just chill. Unless you're looking at the royals, unless you're looking at the upper class royal family.
People that got money, yes.
Yeah, you're the average Joe in Egypt, the average Joe in India, the average Joe in Mali, the average Joe in all of our African kingdoms worked and provided, you know what I'm saying? And then you come to this planet with a talent. And then in order to use that talent, you're going to have to work. You understand? You're going to have to work and develop that talent that's within your spirit in order to understand what you're going to contribute to society. So this idea of staying home, it just doesn't make any sense to me. But then again, like I said, I was never really, the normal cat. Like I had other things going on when I was at school.
Yeah.
So that's very fascinating, but I do know this, I see a lot of successful single Black sisters that are having issues having children at the moment. And then there's gonna come a point, we're not at that. I don't believe our community's at that tipping point, whereas we're at a negative. We're not gonna be producing enough people in order to sustain our community. Like,
but we're getting there.
We could be getting there. Yeah, with these ideas, I agree. We could be getting there, because if our sisters are not able to reproduce and our community, has a negative production, we're gonna breed ourselves out. And we're gonna follow the steps. We're gonna follow the steps of the European. because that's what's happening in their community.
These women that are making that much money, that are getting college educated, they really need to go along with the team effort plan. As far as working with their husbands to build wealth.
But then we need to have we're going to have as men, we're going to have the mindset of building community and living and interacting communally. So the sisters have a structure to come into to help build. You understand? Because then what's really killing everybody is this capitalistic capitalistic system. Whereas I'm looking at the prices of houses. I'm like, man, this is crazy. How are people man, people are paying $1 million for a house that used to cost $100,000 20 years ago. What kind of madness? So we need to, we're going to have to really, we're really going to have to start living communally. Honestly, we're going to have to start living in such a way where we're all helping to support each other. Now, I mean, we could talk about polygamy in that sense, or we just talk about having communal families.
I was just about to say that, I was just about to say polygamy,
I know. That's another. What do you think about? Man, we can talk about. We can have a whole.
Oh gosh, I love it. I love talking to men because like you get a better you know more about men when you talk to men. Which I think women don't talk to men unless it's on another level. But like, yes, polygamy. I was looking into that. I really was considering it. My children was telling me, "Mom, what are you doing?" I said, "I was looking at Sister Wives on the TV, and I was noticing the dynamics between them."
Yep.
And I was thinking, and then I saw Polite with his one, like when his little one was really, really young, and she was knowing the languages. And I was like, yeah, I was really considering it, but I never did meet a polygamous couple over here, strange enough, because I think that's just the next way to go.
Well, so let me get this out the way. Are you in London or England or something like that?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Out here where I'm at, I'm around a lot of different polygamous families, right? And so, and the people that are here, I live in DC, and you have DC is like a hub for African consciousness. You know what I'm saying? So the polygamous families that are there, they base their decisions. The sister says she's from England or London. The people there base their decisions upon spirituality. And then the point of a polygamous family is like what Brother Polite is saying. It's a business model, but really what it is when these people out here, these are brothers and sisters that grew up in consciousness, that came into consciousness in the 60s and the 70s. The point was to provide a husband and to provide a father for single mothers or for women in general. That was the point of polygamy. It's not about having multiple wives per se, as much as it's about building a family structure, and then to give the children a positive male role model to have in their life. And then I know a lot of these brothers and sisters, and so and then I see that although now a lot of them are engaged in what we'll call, just for a better term, it's just a more succinct term. A lot of them are in the Babylon, so to speak. And so like they grew up in consciousness. However, they escaped they were protected from many of the conscious hurdles that children from single parents have to overcome, so to speak. And so they had the positive male role model, and they had the their mother with them. The other interesting dynamic that I actually did a show on this. I was speaking with a few of them. And that they brought up is like the children actually have a different way of like looking at life. So like whenever they were problem solving, they would go to one of the mothers and they would get one perspective, and then they would go to another mother and get another perspective, and they would go to however many mothers they had, be it 2, be it 4, but then they would have a more complete understanding on how to engage a situation because they had different perspectives. And then there's also the baby daycare is basically not an issue in a polygamous family because you know, if one woman had something to do, go off and work a job, there was another sister at the house that could take care of the children. And so it works as a more complete system. But there's a lot of, from what I've seen, spirituality is what guides the family. It's not something based upon somebody's wants or desires. So that's what I've seen in reference to polygamy or polygyny, so to speak.
I think, but oh, sorry, sorry, was you going to say something? Because what I was going to say, because that might be the next way to go, because it's like it needs a village, innit? It needs the village. It needs the wise ones and the shamans, the warriors, and everybody. It needs the phases of the village, because the village can't work. Because what's happening now is that, especially like okay, Nature Boy, for instance, he right now is showing the wrong side of polygamy right now. The village, it's not strong there, and even though we're not really talking about him as much as such, like, so some, like I said, some women would have to fall back into the nurturing way of doing things because of you know, she has a role in it. She has a role. You can't demasculate a man, right? I like when a man's very assertive and alpha, to be exact, because when he's not, I mean, I don't want you to make me submissive, but at the same time, right, you got to be able to work alongside me, because in Egypt, I always use this. In Egypt, the pharaoh sat side by side with the queen. She never, and he never did nothing without going to his queen or his oracle, or whoever, you know. So at the end of the day, I think that's how, right, the village is the important thing, and the polygamy as well, and the polygamist point as well. Yeah, I think it is helpful. I think the children are different, because I've had the negative side, like with the absent father with a son, it's harder because you the mom can't be the male and the female for the son, particularly. I mean, for the girls it's fine, but for the boys it's a bit more harder, and that's why most of the boys are so demasculated. They're so feminine with these tight trousers and all this stuff. Then they get brought into so-called families, gang families on the outside. Then they learn the wrong way to be the sexual way, the wrong way, because their fathers is a certain way. They learn to be that way. So they learn about relationships the wrong way, though they're wrong around the mother and the sisters, because they get the first time of how women operate when they're in the house full of women.
Yeah.
Right. But then at the same time, right, it can also hurt the boy as well. So I can't even remember my point now, but basically.
No, it's all good. You bring up a good point. Kevin Samuels actually talked about this. He was saying that those of us that were born in, like, you know, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, we grew up in that are on the scene now. We grew up in single parent households raised by our mothers. And so we were raised by women, but the people in the older generation, because this is when the welfare programs really kicked in and started really dismantling and then destabilizing the Black family. But those of us in the older generations, our parents were still around. Their parents were still around, and they were taught to be a man by their fathers. And so what you have now is a generation of men raised by women. I think Fight Club, you know, really said that the best. You have a generation of men raised by women. So they don't really, you know, and then what the woman taught them to do was to actually be good to them based upon their own mindset of what it means, what they think a good man is, or what they wish their man would be. So, but that's not necessarily what a man should be. And so that's why you have a lot of, I guess, what they call beta males. I don't know about this alpha beta thing. That's kind of interesting. But I guess that's why you would have a lot of these males out here acting, you know, effeminate. So that's another thing to talk about. That's a whole nother level. But that's why you would have that in our community currently. So that's one thing that polygyny does offer and does provide. As long as you have a dedicated, committed, devotional man in the household, So, but because if it's for anything other than building family, other than building structure, other than creating a positive environment to raise children in, I don't know what it's about. It doesn't, you know, that's about something else. Like what you brought up, a brother that's really off in the community right now, Nature Boy. His main but it's off. But what Nature Boy is showing is the destruction of the village and the need to have a communal and the need to have healing spaces. That's what these sisters that are gravitating to. I mean, if there's sisters going over there for any, you know, other reasons, whatever. But when you look at the people that go over there, what they're responding to is the broken family, the broken community in the Black community. And they're looking for healing, so to speak. And they believe Nature Boy can offer to them. But because of his own abuses and because he just happens to have a strong personality. He has a strong personality and a great way of analyzing, regurgitating information. But he is not actually the knowledge itself. So, but the people are looking towards him and going there thinking they'll become something. And then because Nature Boy hasn't gotten over his own abuses, ends up going to an abusive environment. So, you know, but what he is revealing to the community is the fact that there are people out here that are looking for healing spaces. That's what I see when I see this boy out here performing, doing his antics. So, you know, so anyway, there's a lot to talk about. This is very this conversation is good. This is a good conversation.
Should these women that are looking for these men that originally wanted the high value men, should they engage in polygamous relationships?
Ooh, I don't think they'll be able to handle that. Honestly, I don't think they'll be able to handle that. Because then their whole concept is I want this. You know, and essentially their conception is I want a man to myself. So should they do it? If they're a single parent and they can't find a man, and if there's not enough men out here, yes. Because the other alternative is that they're going to be a sister on the side. Either a sister on the side or by themselves. And ultimately, that means being a sister on the side at some point in time.
Yeah.
Because they're going to want to go out and then they're going to want to get with a man at some point in time. I know sisters are always telling us that they've been single or they can be by themselves, but that can only last for so long. Eventually, they're going to go out and they want companionship. Being by themselves and being lonely, no sister likes that situation. So they may have to consider that, you know, until we get ourselves together as a community, you know, because the forces that are on our community to influence the young mind, that's what we have to really start taking control of, is the forces on our community that influences our young minds, that have them engaged in behaviors that, you know, are negative to their development and to being a fully functioning adult. We need to really get a handle on that. A lot of that is in our music. The music and entertainment industry has been hyper destructive on the Black family. So, yeah, ultimately, some of them are going to have to consider it. I don't really see that happening, though. With these sisters out here, I don't see them going that way. You know, I see them wanting to have a man on their own.
So, are they to just die alone?
I'm not saying they should. I'm saying I don't see them being able to do that. You know, psychologically, I think it's a good thing. I think they should. I don't think they should be alone and by themselves. I think they will benefit from being in a family structure. You know, because even when the man is not there, like in a polygamous situation, even when the man is not there, they still have community inside the household. What ends up happening is you end up developing a small community in the household. The community actually is not centered on the man at all. Honestly, this community is centered on the family itself, you know. But that's my Osun. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I don't think those type of women is going to go for that, to be honest, because they're very dominating.
Yeah.
And they want to be they want to be the lead. They don't want him to lead, and yeah, it's very destructible, I would say. So basically, you got to start from the very basic, I suppose, with some. Well, I mean, or probably in most cases, you're gonna have to, because some women, though they're high flying, whatever, right, they're going through traumas too as well. So, like you said, right, with all them going to healing spaces, they need a man to heal them, and yeah, but they're not gonna go for it at all.
No, they're not
Straight.
gonna go for it. I mean, but O'Toole says, should they die alone? I don't think they should die alone, but they're gonna have to get over their ego, you know, and they're gonna have to understand that this. But then when you have to do something like that, it's gonna be resented. I think if you say you have to get over this idea that you're gonna get a man and you have to do this, they're gonna resent the fact that they have to do that. And so they might end up they're probably going to end up, you know, being resentful in their decision, which was going to make it so that it doesn't work. This is why in the families I see, they use oracle systems to determine, you know, what energies are involved. And if I engage this sister, or if I bring this sister into the family, what are the energies involved with this sister, and is it going to work this way? You know, everything is done by oracles. You know, and then or you can do it by birth charts, do it by Bazi. You can look at how people's energy is going to mix with the situation. So, yeah.
I think these, a lot of these women, they actually prefer to die alone than to get with somebody that make less than them.
I mean, you probably well, but you know what? I don't know, brother. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna just say I don't know. Like literally, I don't know.
A lot of them said it.
They would rather. You heard that? Yeah. I'd rather die alone.
They said, "Well, I'll just die alone then."
What?
Because I'm not settling for less.
You know what? That's madness, brother. They don't know what they're saying.
No, they don't.
Nobody wants to spend their entire life alone.
No. I guess they figure they can just have sex with some dudes anyway, and so they'll just never have children and get married. Wow,
that's deep right there.
So they're saying they're never settling for less. They're not. Their spirit, their being is saying, yeah. I went to school for 4 years, and then 6 years, and then 8 years, and I got my PhD, I got my BA, and I am not settling for a man that makes $40,000 a year. I have spent a large part of my life earning my degree and earning my way up to the top. I will not settle for a man that does not have twice as much as I do.
That's crazy. And so they decide to be alone. But you know, and that really only hurts them.
Yeah.
Because it's not like it hurts us. I guess that's why I never had an issue, because there's more sisters than brothers.
Yeah.
So say that again, Oshun.
That argument, I'm fed up hearing that argument. Every man comes with that. Oh, there's more men than women. Maybe there is. I mean, I don't know. Well,
wait, there's more men or more women?
More women than men. Sorry. Yes, I heard that argument from a few men. They always come with that argument, and yeah, but
you're sick of it. Why are you? I mean, wait, it's not even an argument. I'm telling you an experience. I'm not telling you an argument.
No. I'm not arguing. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying. I've heard that before. There's so many men. Some women. I mean, I'm gonna be straight. Some women, they rather have the man that comes secretly to their house, knocking on the door, leaving at 2 o'clock in the morning, coming at midnight. Is it midnight? 11 o'clock, and leaving like 5 o'clock in the morning. Some women would have it like that too. Some women would live like that for a long time and be with this man for years, having sex sessions with the man, and that's it. Now the women with the high-paying women, they most probably would like to be in that situation where they have that, what I call the backdoor man, because he don't come, because he sneaks in and he sneaks out in the morning.
Yeah. That's called, yeah. I hear those are the one night stand, or the booty. We call them booty calls.
Or fuck boys. Oh, excuse me. That's a
I was
popular.
going to say that one, but I didn't want to say it. I didn't want
That's what we
to say
call, that's our term over here. Yeah, it's either booty call or F boys. So,
Yeah.
I mean, apparently, well, they got their name for a reason. Apparently, there's a market. You know what I'm saying?
Hookup
Basically.
culture, the F boys and the F girls, and so they'll settle in that stream as opposed to get married and having the kids.
But that's dysfunctional. That's not building a community that's able to withstand the social forces that the child is going to come up against. Or, well, maybe there's just no children in that community. I mean, that's another thing. Maybe we have to redefine community. You know, maybe that could just be the F boy, F girl community, and that's what they appreciate. They don't want commitment. They just want, you know, pleasure, joy, and satisfaction. Momentary pleasure, joy, and satisfaction. No commitment. And actually, honestly, there's a lot. That's a growing number of people, I guess.
Yeah.
And then, wow.
Because I think everybody have reached. I mean, to be just straightforward with it. I mean, people have reached a point of horniness where they cannot resist no more. They cannot put up the act of, oh, I only want a relationship to have sex. No, they want it. So the term F boy and F girl had to come into existence, and hookup culture had to come into existence for people to just do what they, really want to do.
But here's the issue. Right? That's all well and good until someone has a child. You understand?
What?
That's, you know what I'm saying? That laissez-faire, non-committal, sexual relationship is good until a child comes into play.
Oh yeah.
And see, that's the danger of that relationship, because once a child comes into play, all of that comes to an end. In at least the sister's mind, I believe. I don't know. I'm not a sister, but I would imagine that. Well, I would imagine that the fun and play without commitment is done.
No, because they,
Well, wait. We got a sister online. Oshun, is that? Am I right, or do you think they would still maintain that?
You're right to some extent, but the only danger with that is that the type of men that now you come across now, because now you've got to be careful of the predators with your child.
You said you got predators?
Well, yeah, because. Sorry, my daughter. Yeah. Right. Right. It's the predators you have to worry about, because what's happening now is women picking up men, right, for their own pleasure, and then their children is coming like the problem, like around predators and all that. There's predatorial stuff, because I mean, recently I've been seeing that a lot on the Yana. I've been seeing that a lot on the net. A lot.
Dang. That's dangerous. Yeah, that's those. See, what we need is spiritual programs that teaches brothers how to control these urges. That's sad. That right there is a different level right there. The sister was talking about, you do that, and then you come across men that are predators. Jesus Christ.
If she were
not if, she's just talking about a situation that she's observed.
Come across predators, and what happens?
Then it said, then it said it comes across the predators, and what happens?
Well, because don't forget that how some women is looking for a man for themselves, or they're looking for a father figure in most cases, but sometimes the men come over okay. I mean, I haven't had this, touch wood, but but then you have to be careful. Some women would have to be careful, or what most happens is stop. Right, what most will happen is that they come across the predatorial men, because they will come over like they're helping her, they're with the woman. I mean, recently there was video go around of a Jamaican man, I think he was, and he was saying that he sleeps with the 8-year-old and all this. And I think the 8-year-old told the mother.
Wait, this happened?
Yes, happened. It's in real life. It's on YouTube.
Wow.
It's on YouTube. Somebody sent me a video clip of it. So you have a lot. There's a lot to consider. There's a lot to consider, and obviously, right, you don't know who is who in it. You don't know who is who because like people don't. It's not like before in small communities where people will say, "You see that one, don't bother go with him," or "Don't bother go with her," because that one, whatever they're history, you will never know. And because of these apps on the internet too, that's another thing. The apps. I mean, I'm not saying don't go on them. If you want to go on them, but then you have to be a single. You can't be a mother looking for a man on an app because you don't know what this man's capable of doing.
Right. Wow. Did you hear that, Otto?
No.
She was saying that recently, this in Jamaica, this man, this guy started dealing with his sister, and ended up basically molesting the 8-year-old that was there.
Okay.
And then she's saying that, sisters got to be careful, bringing in, the predators and molesters into the presence of their children. Yeah, bro. Yeah, that's sick. That's what everybody is mad at Nature Boy for, because this brother has, molestation tendencies. He just able to, yeah. So that's crazy.
Yeah, so, that's the dangers of practicing hookup culture when you have children, but some mothers still do it. Some women will try to get at you while they're pregnant, and it's like, wow. Oh yes.
What you say? What?
I thought I was the only one that happened to until I discovered it happened to a lot of other men.
Wait, time out. What? I don't.
So women that are pregnant.
Women that are pregnant trying to. Interesting. I ain't never. Wow.
Yeah, they'll be pregnant. I'm like, no, girl. That's you might want to just wait till after you had a baby for a while.
I think that's more indicative of that person must have some sort of illness going on. That's definitely a mental illness going on right there.
Oh yes.
Yeah, because
because what you want a stranger in the womb for, and you're not pregnant. I mean, you're pregnant, and then that's very unhealthy.
Man.
That's a very troublesome person. So a person like that is going to be engaged in hookup culture, even when they're pregnant.
This is the sickness. This is the sickness that we're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
This is the sickness that we're dealing with. This is what we got to deal with when we're dealing with Western society. Essentially,
pretty much.
Essentially, this is part of the conversations that we have to have in order to heal our community and our people.
Yeah.
In general, because many of our people are dealing with all of this is stemming off of what is high value. All of this is stemming off of high value.
Yeah, and my whole thing is people need to raise their conscience up to a higher level. So they need to value themselves more. A lot of women were calling into Kevin Samuel's show. I mean, like I said, the dude has a lot of knowledge, and the dude, speaks a lot of truth. But a lot of women were calling to a show to get value judgments on, from him.
What do you mean value judgments? To get judged on their value?
To judge their value.
Interesting.
Just like that girl with that, that recent girl whose video went viral. She called in to get.
I haven't even seen that video. I just hear about it. So what happened?
So she called in, just like, women usually do at this show. They call in and they say, they ask him, okay, so how do you think I can get me a man that makes $200,000 or more? And and he'll be like, okay, let me see what you look like, okay. And he say, so what? Rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. Rate yourself on how you look, and you can't say 7. And then so the girl would say, oh well, that girl in particular said she was a 5 without makeup and a 6 once she's made up. And then he looked at her. He said, okay, sister, you're average at best. You're asking for a high value man, and you don't deserve basically saying that she don't really deserve a high value man because she's average, or
That's
not
crazy.
really don't deserve a high value man. That a high value man is going to overlook her because she's not an 8, a 9, or a 10.
That what that judgment, as we're talking, brother, that judgment system is crazy. That's crazy. First of all, valuing a woman based on her looks is wildness, bro. Honestly, and that's what's really gonna get you. If you do that, if that's your judgment system to value a woman based on her looks, you're gonna get some madness. You're about to go through a lot of drama, which is gonna teach you that people in general are more than what they have. People in general are more than what they look like. Because you cannot have a successful relationship based on looks. You're not gonna be able to raise kids based on looks.
Right. So and where he is coming from, part of where he's coming from is the fact that a lot of men, before they become considered what they're considered high value, they're overlooked by many women. Then they get to the point where they reach a certain level of finance. A level in their career, they came up, they're making $100,000 a year or more, maybe $300,000 a year, and so these dudes are cream of the crop. And then their standards in women have raised up as a result. So since they've earned, just like the women that feel like, oh, I've made myself this beautiful and sexy and all this, and so I deserve a man that has it all. He's like, well, he deserves a woman that has all the beauty. And so he gets a lot of male support because he's coming from that male perspective, and he's hitting notes that men been trying to communicate this whole time, all these years, and are just now being able to get all of this out. And it's the truth that there's some men that are making a certain amount a year, and then they want really, really, really beautiful women because they got all these women that may be throwing themselves at them and trying to get with them. But at the same time, I don't believe that every man that may consider themselves high value really necessarily demand that the woman be a 10.
Right.
Or an 8 or a 7. Because
brother, hold on a second. One of the brother Truth in the comments said basically everything that glitters isn't gold.
But say it again.
All that glitters is not gold.
Right.
And glitter catches the eye of the child.
Right.
Basically,
that's true.
Yep. The child wants to play with a toy, and all toys lose their value after a while. Yep. That's true. Every toy you've ever had, every game you've ever played with, lost its value after a while. And you needed something new. That's exactly right.
You just wanted some more, because the appetite for that becomes insatiable. I wouldn't say that it would lose its value. I would say that it will become insatiable. You want more.
Yeah.
And more. I still like the game Street Fighter 2. Well,
I'm not saying it's totally discarded, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, brother.
Yeah. It's so people want to add to their life and everything. These men, I've seen a lot of men that make a lot of money, and they don't necessarily have a woman that will be considered a 10 on some scale, or maybe that's in my opinion. Maybe that dude did consider them a 10. Like I said, I don't really have a scale that goes 1 to 10. And then my 1 to 10 doesn't start with things that I'm not attracted to. This is the thing. If I have a 1 to 10, 1 is not an unattractive person. 1 is actually an attractive person, because the scale is based on attractiveness, not non-attractiveness.
Right. My scale, my scale is really based on, where the sister is at, like spiritually and intellectually.
Yeah.
Not even, honestly, I wouldn't even say intellectual. I would say spiritually, honestly, because of the type of person I am, And so, and then if a person like, if a sister was staked in, if a sister has never really challenged the dominant narrative on what is and is not reality, if she's just gone along with what society has taught her is true, our conversation lasted 5 seconds. That happened many times, because I just don't want to go through the even if a sister was fine, you know what I'm saying. But if she had not questioned, what was I before, or what were my people, what was our conception of reality prior to having to deal with white supremacy, racism, colonialism, and slavery. What was it prior to that? What was my conception prior to that? And if she hasn't aligned her life with that, I just wasn't interested in the conversation. That was after I went and got initiated.
Right.
When I was at Seattle Central, it was just based on how you looked. Like I said earlier, and then it was based on how you looked and whether or not we argued. But then I became more selective. The older I got, I became more selective. And so, and then honestly, it's whether or not the sisters, if I can grow with the sister and build with her, that's of prime importance to me. The looks that goes with time in general. What does not go with time is character. Character.
Say it again. The looks goes. Hear that, all men? The looks goes. She don't stay like that for long. Her breasts don't stay peaked up for long. She can't twist up. She will have pains. She gets old. Okay. Amen. Thank you.
Yeah, looks fade with time, but character, who you are as a person, that which I love, is not physical.
No, and that supposedly improves in time.
Right. That which I'm actually interacting with, the soul of the person, the consciousness of the person, is not physical. And that's what I love. That is what I am building with. The physical body is just a toy. No, not a toy. It's a tool, but it is not the end all and be all of existence.
Right. And this brings us to another part of that high value consciousness and argument, is that the older a woman gets, the devalued she is,
and that's
the less value she has.
And that's a Western conception, brother.
His idea, or this idea, I should say, because it's the same idea in Hollywood, right? And so this idea is that from 18 to 25 is where she is worth the most. Beyond that, her value starts to go down, and then the 27 through 35 is the danger zone. After 35 is where the loser women are.
But to a degree, women feel, I guess, because of women, sisters' consciousness is really defined by society. I've noticed that what society says is correct, a woman wants to adhere to. So I think women instinctively feel this, because you hear this in conversations. Oh, you're getting 30, you're getting old. Yep. You don't hear that. Men, we don't really hear that. Oh, you're getting 30, you're getting old. It's like, you're getting 30, yeah, so what? Do you still play with Nintendo? But for women, it takes on a new meaning and something different. I've noticed that. I've just noticed the impacts that social values have on a woman's consciousness. But that's not just social values. That's also a biological concept.
Yeah.
That's a biological concept.
This high value consciousness asserts that men get better with age and women start to suck the older they get.
Wow. What did you just say? What? Repeat that.
Wait. Okay. I'll say that again, O2.
So this high value consciousness, this high value societies suggest that women, the older they get, they suck. And the older the men get, they get better with age.
So explain that. You're gonna have to explain they suck a little bit better, I think.
Okay, so she sucks because once she gets a certain age, it's gonna get harder and harder to have children. She sucks because her looks begin to fade. She sucks because a lot of this is superficial.
Okay, yeah, it is.
The vagina is not as good anymore, and then the sex isn't going to be as good anymore. She's not going to be as agreeable. She's going to be disagreeable and argumentative the older she gets. She's going to be more complicated, and the men don't want to deal with that, so they rather get with the younger woman who's proper childbirthing age, and feminine. And what I would say.
I really want to jump in, but I'm going to hold my mouth.
Say more agreeable.
Hold a second, Brother Otun. What did you say, Oshun?
Sorry, I keep doing this. I said I really want to jump in because listen, right? I had my child at a later age, my last one, yeah?
Okay.
Right? I didn't even know. I was very active, honey, okay? I was very active, okay? I'll repeat that again. I was very active. And I can do just as much as the young ones can do, or even better. You know, I don't even mind things. So at the end of the day, if there is some bit, to be honest, I met bitter ones too because I'm 46, yeah, right. My face has changed a lot, right? Well, not a lot. I don't look like a grey but it's just that certain features changes. You know what I mean? But at the end of the
conversation, the brother in the comments said, "Congratulations."
Thank you. But what I'm saying is, I can start. Right, listen, right? Let me just put it straight and then put straightforward talk. Yeah, I can stretch just as much as the young one. I can do just as much as the young one. Yeah, and I've had 50-something year olds. I've had 30. My youngest man was 30-something, right? And I was teaching him. Okay, so
here we go.
Yeah, sorry, Ocean's come out now. Sorry, and honestly, right? And I've got 5 children. My oldest one is 26. My youngest one is 3. So at the end of the day, right? Some women, like I said, they're bitter. Them bitter women is the ones, right, who will say, "Oh no, me can't do. And you have the one, the cock teasers, and you have the other ones, right? But there's ones out here, right? We ain't cock teasers, right? And I've been around my ex like 5 times or how many times, I don't even know, right? And to be honest, right, he always comes back, okay? He always comes back. Let me be that. And he's gone off. He's made a family, and he's come back. And all my exes, I'm good with my exes, right? But there's only this one particular one, like you always have that one dangerous one, okay? And you know what I'm talking about, you know the dangerous one, yeah? Okay.
I know.
So and then you play with them, yes, you play, and then being as a female, I did catch the baby. But at the end of the day, I am being straightforward, right? Me can stretch out, me can long out, me can do all sorts of things to just like the young one, yeah? So the young ones, they may look pretty on the outside, but sometimes, right, they ain't got a brain. They got bimbo mentality. Okay? All right.
Oh, man, this is funny. We're not saying, wow, that's funny. We understand. Wow. Sister, I know that you're beautiful. But we're discussing that we're talking about how the high value concepts are off.
Right. The high.
So we're not talking about you. We're definitely not talking. We're not actually talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that.
I'm just saying of the concepts.
Yeah.
This is the psychological destructiveness of these concepts. Because then, what is it to? I don't even know. Women, sisters in general, have so much to deal with. And then now we have society, we have an idea in society that if you reach a certain age, you are no longer of any sexual value. That's crazy.
Yep, you have no sexual market value if you're a man in your 20s, and you have no sexual market value if you're a lady above 35.
And so your experience is clearly showing that there's value there, and that's what you're telling us. But this is why it doesn't make any sense, and why it's destructive. Why it's a destructive concept in the community.
Yes. Yes.
She was like, "Look, I still got it." That was funny. I'm sorry for laughing, sister, but that of course you. Man. Yeah. Now, honestly, I'm gonna say if you're 80 or 90, I got issues. But I mean, 40, 50, 60, no. I mean, 60s, an African concept, you're reaching elderhood at that point.
Yeah. Back in the day, we used to love older women.
Yeah, that was it. That was
young
definitely
boys used to always fantasize about their teachers and shit and about older women. That was commonplace. We didn't think about women reaching 30 and being losers at that point. We didn't think about things like that. And a lot of these women were older than that. I remember being a much younger man, and I liked it. And I liked the women that were in their 30s and 40s because they were more mature. They had these things that the women in their 20s thought were such a big deal and such life-altering experiences. They were nothing to women in their 30s and 40s. Nothing. These women already been through that they know where certain routes, avenues lead to. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it wasn't a big deal to them. They've been around a little. They have some experience, and so that was appreciated because it showed women that were they were emotionally mature, and that's what men like, women that are emotionally mature.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's a lot of value upon emotional maturity. Just in general, because if a sister is able to handle the majority of as long as everything is just, if a sister is able to handle the majority of her emotional environment, it makes for a better relationship. I'm gonna just put it.
Yes, that's right.
But if a sister can't
with herself,
but she can't. If she's not, she doesn't know how to control herself. She doesn't understand her own emotional environment. It's gonna be one hell of a ride. Let me just put it like that.
Yeah. And also for that person in the chat, no, I ain't peeping out my snacks yet, my sneaks, whatever you said. I'm just talking. I'm just saying.
No, we respect, sister. Respect. This is how we're gonna respond.
But then at the end of the day, like I said, there is women out there. Yeah, there is a borderline to obviously elderhood. Yeah, when it steps in, obviously that's when you take your place in it. Like me, I look at myself as an elder, right, and I'm not even 50 yet, but I come to realize when I do have a level of that side. So when I talk from my younger days to now in a kind of way, and I'm able to talk. Some women go on like they can't talk straightforward like this, and it's taboo. So at the end of the day, if a woman cannot talk and express herself, yes, the feminine, divine femininity steps in place. Like I said, right. On this name I have is Oshun. Oshun is very sensitive. She's very sexual. She has that side to her. So if you look to Ifa, right, you know who she is. Some women governs that naturally, right? They look feminine as well, and they can maintain it. And now the 40-year-old doesn't look old. They don't look old, right? I've seen pictures of many, and they don't look old. The 50-year-olds don't look old.
Not at all. I mean, that's why when you said you an elder, I disagree. You're older, but an elder, the elder, that's in their 70s. In Africa, you're not an elder until you reach your 65 or 70 years old. That's when you become an elder in Africa. In certain, not all of Africa, and I can't say it's a continent. In certain traditional societies, you don't become an elder until you get to your 60s or 70s. And then between warrior age is between 25 and 60 years old. That's the warrior age. So to me, sister, you would still, you're still, yeah, I wouldn't consider you an elder. I respect you, but eldership, you got a little ways for that. Somebody like Marimba Ani, Francis Cress Welsing, those were elders for me. But the wisdom that you hold, that comes with your age and your experience. That's there to be passed on and then respected.
Right, and appreciated.
Respected and appreciated. Agreed. But elder?
Me personally, I don't feel that the older a woman gets, the less value she has. She has more value as she gets older. All human beings do. They have more value as they get older because you accumulate a lot of spiritual, experiential wealth. You know what I mean? There's a lot that you learn. There's a lot that you can share with the rest of the world.
But that's what's not valued in Western society. Right.
It's not valued in Western. And making women, just because they're 30 years old, feel like a loser, they need to be tossed to the side.
Right.
Now that's terrible. You're making them feel old and ugly because they reach 30.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's bad. In China, any girl that's over 24 years old is a leftover woman, and they're losers. And so they can't. All the men want to marry the women that are 24 and younger.
Yeah, I know they have like parks and stuff in China where people go to get their daughters married because they're too old, so to speak.
Right.
It's really a destructive concept. I mean, it's real deal. You know what I'm saying?
Tell you something.
Go ahead.
Kevin Samuels started using that term too, leftover women, to describe women that are past the danger zone, as he called it.
This brother, the more we talk about this brother seems kind of destructive to the community, man.
Well, it's terrible to put women in that situation. I'd say that.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Women already feel bad about themselves before, this movement really kicked off. Now
he's up here, spreading these concepts. But the delusion, it's kind of hard because we're also talking about women's delusional state.
Yes.
Because it's I'm gonna go ahead and flash these stats again. I mean, I'm gonna go. When I brought up the average Black household income.
Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead and share that again. The average Black household income.
Yeah, the delusion comes from the Western value system. That's where their delusions come from.
Just looking at this in general, that, and then I think the U.S. government is the largest employer of African Americans in the United States. Mm-hmm. And anybody who works for the U.S. government is falling in between this set right here.
Right.
Really kind of between this set right here, 25 up to 100,000 across the United States. Really, that's where we're falling. So I'm this concept that a woman can't get with a man unless the man makes, up here and above $200,000 and above is extremely ridiculous.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's extremely ridiculous. And they're hurting themselves and they're causing their own psychological trauma.
Pretty much. When you think about it, a lot of times women go after the most attractive dude that they can find, even without money, right?
Let's just say, I think people in general.
You get women going after dudes that well, see, here's the thing, and here's what there's a lot of truth to it, and there's a lot of misconception to it. There's women, there's a lot of women out there, women and girls that find dudes that get other women attractive. So because he gets other women, he attracts a lot of other women. They find him attractive, a catch to get at, to get him and make him be with him.
Yeah, it's a competition thing.
And so if that idea goes unchecked, that's where you get women that refuse to settle for less. Because once and they use this analogy, once she has tried the prime steak, she ain't going back to the little Happy Meal cheeseburger.
What does that mean?
So once she had a dude that makes $100,000 a year and take her to the finest restaurants, let her drive his nice car, pay some of her bills. She don't want to settle for a dude who can't afford to do any of that.
Yeah,
so it's
unhealthy.
It's like she got high for a while, and then once she sobered up after the relationship was over, she realized, oh man, I can't go back to not being high again. I got to get high. I got to get some more of that high.
Right. So we had a brother. We had a brother in the comment section saying this concept isn't based in reality. There is a need to look past money versus wealth. Are coupling up, getting together to build wealth. So yes, brother, that's exactly what we're discussing. Exactly what we're talking about.
That's right.
And
we want to build the wealth, but there's a lot of people out there that are too stuck and too, their consciousness is too polluted, diluted, whatever, detoured away from reality. They're stuck in this fantasy Barbie land where, and reality TV land, right? The Kardashians, and they're stuck with dreaming of this lifestyle that is not really them. Right. And it's not really, it's only possible in a fake universe, in a matrix.
Likewise, Brother Edward. Peace.
It's not possible in reality itself. You got. I thought so.
I was trying to remember Brother Broody.
I looked at a picture of one of the Kardashian sisters. I think she's the second to the youngest or the youngest one. And I looked at a picture of her after her plastic surgery, and I looked at her before her plastic surgery. And now I'm sure I'm not the only person in the world that noticed these things about celebrities. Some of these celebrities look better before they had their physical enhancements in the plastic surgery than they do after the plastic surgery. A lot of these people look better prior to that.
Yeah, I've noticed when people there's just a fakeness about their face.
Yes.
When someone's had body work.
Yes.
There's a fakeness about them when they've had whatever they pump that stuff in their lips or in their, whenever they pump that jelly in their butt to get a bigger butt. It's just a fakeness about it because it doesn't go with their body type.
No.
And so you can definitely see that.
And why are they doing all this?
Beauty standards.
To increase their value.
Yep.
So that other people with money will accept them.
Yep.
Other people with money, with the clout, with the resources will accept them into their society or hire them for a job.
Yep. Made up. Instagrammed over and made up. Exactly.
And so you got the women.
Yeah, that shows you the power of beauty, the power of beauty standards, the power of value. And that's why we have to take control of these concepts, man. Honestly, we have to take control. We have to redefine these concepts because it's unhealthy and it's not healthy for our community, for the building up of strong individuals in our community. Collagen. That's right. It's collagen. Collagen is what they pump through to people.
We used to say beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Now they stopped saying that. They said no, beauty depends on your value to somebody else. That's what they're teaching people now. I remember hearing that in college. That's what they're teaching people now. They started teaching people that when I was in college.
Yep.
Teaching people that, oh no, you are what other people think of you. I'm like, no.
Wow.
So if other people think of you as, excuse my language, a piece of shit, are you a piece of shit?
Exactly.
You don't want to. I know you don't want to be that, do you? So you're saying, the people that think like that think that we are what other people think of us. So if I say you're a piece of shit, then you're a piece of shit.
Okay. We have children listening too, Brother Otun.
But you get what I'm saying.
I understand what you're saying. I definitely understand what you're saying.
You don't want to be that. If I think you're just an ugly dog face, stupid, ugly pit bull, then that's what you are then, according to that logic.
Yep.
So these people need to get, they need to look at these maxims and look at these value judgments that are coming from forces outside of them. and they need to reevaluate those value judgments.
Mm-hmm. So how do we do that as a people, as a community? How do we take control of these concepts? Because they're out here and what do we do? So we have Brother Barudi's in the comment section. He's talking about the influence of Instagram, right? And how Instagram, how Instagram is helping to shape shape the consciousness of people. So what I noticed a lot is there people like to talk about issues. So this is going to be a series. Sister Oshun, you still there?
I'm still here.
All right. The next time we talk about this, I'm going to have a panel of sisters discuss high value. Would you like to be on it?
Yeah. Just let me know. I'm on Instagram as well, anyway.
Right. So I'm gonna put the next time we have this conversation, I'm gonna go ahead and make an announcement like a day or two before, so you'll know what time to get on. But I'm gonna wrap this up. So I want us now what are some of the things that we can do in our own lives to help promote a more healthy concept to the people? And then and then understanding that the majority of people are not going to wake up. That's a concept that's well known. The majority of people are always going to be influenced by the people who control the media. Essentially, that's what it is. The media has control of the consciousness of our people. So what can we do, or what can we do to improve the conditions that we're talking about?
Well, one thing, a YouTube channel like this is a start.
Right. YouTube
discussions.
Agreed.
Putting a message out there that we need to change.
Right.
And what we need to change.
Yep. Live it, demonstrate it.
Strong emphasis on self-value. People need to start valuing themselves. We need to tell all people that you matter. Your life matters.
I like that. You matter. Your life matters. Who you are is good enough.
Yes. What you think of yourself matters.
Yep.
Not what other people say, is what you think of yourself.
We are humans who participate in this crazy life. Yep. Cray. Yep.
That's right.
Yep. Agreed.
Because how you treat yourself and how you think of yourself, that's how other people are going to think of you and treat you.
Sister Oshun, what do you say?
Yeah, I think we need to have more discussions like this. But I've been saying this for ages anyway, and I think your channel's very yes. I mean, it's very, what's the word? Constructive. It's very constructive, and I think that these panels need to be had because it's all well and good you're doing panels for men separately, women separately, but the two sexes particularly need to talk because they both got to hear both sides of the story, and they mustn't. I mean, everybody's judgmental at the end of the day, but when you put your judgment aside and you open up a little bit more, right, you can learn from the other person. And like they said in the comment, right, the demonstrate it, but sometimes, right, some people need someone on their back, like you have the one who's the who lags behind kind of thing, or not up on a certain thing. So you need to have the ones to push, the ones who pushes the ones, or physically show them how to do certain things, because not everybody's on the same level all at the same time. Because like you wouldn't get the one who's like I would call the normals. You won't get the normals coming in on these conversations because the conversations will be totally different. But those are the ones that you need to have the conversation with. It's not just the ones who's awake and clear. You need the normal, the people who's not into nothing, basically. Let them come in, because that's where the rites of passage come in. Queen Afua talks about rites of passage. Those of others was talking about rites of passage, but it wasn't open up to the wider community. So the wider community needs to have the conversation.
Yeah,
basically.
Agreed.
The value conversation, because some women, like I said, ain't gonna talk openly because of being judged, and maybe what they were doing how many years ago, they don't do that now. and then maybe their value of themselves will change. So, that's what I can say basically.
Understood. All right. Well, we'll definitely have more conversations like this, and then we'll strive to. In this COVID situation is very interesting, but definitely strive to create those groups and where we're at, create those small communities, those small gatherings where we have these conversations where we expand upon the knowledge. Even if it's Zoom gatherings at the moment, if it's YouTube channels having these conversations, but engaging in the conversation. And then trying to live I guess Brother Baruti said it openly, demonstrate it and be the knowledge and be the truth that you see in your life. What you believe should be done, do it. Don't just talk about it. That's the biggest problem. All right, so I'm gonna get off of here. And if you're interested in being up on the panel, just go ahead and shoot me your email. I'll let you know all the details. And then also there's gonna hold on a second. Peace, Sister Oshun. You dropped out for a second.
Yeah, something happened to my Android, but yeah, go on, continue. Sorry.
No, it's all good. The next discussion that we're having is going to be Afro Mystic Wednesdays, and if you want to get your, if you want to do I'm talking to a brother that does Hindu astrology, sidereal astrology. So if you want to, get an understanding on what's going on with you astrologically and in the stars, you're welcome to join that panel. Or you can send me your information and I'll send it to the brothers so he can do your chart for you. But other than that, everybody, about to end the panel right now. It's been a beautiful discussion. It was beautiful to meet you, Oshun. It was definitely beautiful.
Man, you too.
Yes, ma'am. Brother Otun, always a blessing, brother. Thank you for coming on. We're going to have this conversation. It's going to be a series of talks about this high value BS in the community. Let's go ahead and address this. Brother Otun. All right, everybody. Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings. Double Shemotep.
Shemotep.
Yeah, take care. Bye.
Bye. Peace.
Bye.